and good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 109 of New York Red Bulls Discussion Group podcast. I'm Garry Redmond. Greetings and salutations, and I'm, of course, at your service as always. Well, we had a crazy week, right? Started on a Saturday with a couple of wins. Went to D.C., destroyed D.C. United, and then ended with a thud in Flushing. So we're going to discuss all that. Of course, New England Revolution, we do that real quick. Of course, we're going to talk about D.C. United versus New York Red Bulls and how we won the second in a row and how it all came to a crashing halt out in Flushing, Queens against New York City FC. Now, of course, there's no game on Saturday, but we're all going to do some previews. New York Red Bulls versus Charlotte FC. And, of course, that will take place on next Wednesday, not Saturday. And then, of course, next Saturday is Orlando City SC. Plus, we're going to talk about the recaps and updates on New Jersey, New York Gotham FC, and New York Red Bull 2 matches. You'll find that there was something similar to their loss on Sunday. Plus, all the hot takes from the live audience and bold predictions. I see all you guys logging in. It's good to see you all. And can't wait to hear from all of you. And matter of fact, I'm very warm-hearted because I met most of you guys out in Flushing. It was really good to hear you. Of course, as always, if you missed the live show, hey, don't worry about it. You can actually catch the recording on YouTube channel, goals.tv. We're uploading our episodes as we speak. And, of course, Spotify.com. All those episodes are uploaded on the very next day. And, of course, this is your show. And, of course, we always need your help. So if you have any suggestions, good, bad, or indifferent, let us know how we're doing. We welcome any feedback that you have to make the show a better one. So shoot us an email at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that email address is at rbdgthepodcast@gmail.com. So like I said, it was a pretty rough weekend for us. We lost the first half, of course, of the what they call the Hudson River Derby. And, of course, that is now our number one topic of conversation because there was some incidents that took place after the game, some very nasty extracurricular activities, but we're not going to discuss that too much. But before we even get there, allow me to introduce two of my co-hosts. Of course, the one and only Nicholas Lianos, who is basically the the Facebook ranking. You see his rating guides. You see him, with his post game rates, of course, in the game threads, and of course the one and only Miguel Angel Nunez. You're like, well, okay, yep, he's holding up the flag, folks, and like me, of course, my Knicks got knocked out, of course, by the Pacers. Hey, what are you going to do when you play on half a team?
The Pacers again, Garry, man. I was at that series in the early 90s where, Reggie Miller, when he pulled up that.
Yeah. Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, by the way. So it was a good season. Okay, it was a very good season for this team, and for attention. When you have one after another, guys getting hurt. And once I heard that his hand got broken, that's all she wrote. I mean, it's like you gave it. Wow. That was it. Meanwhile, your squad. Hey, I mean, think about it for one second.
It wasn't meant to be, They did
one damn law. That one damn. It's
that like, game, Aston Villa
bit you.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? They were up against a machine. They just win.
And you got people who want.
That's it,
And you want people, guys, who want Major League Soccer to run in the same fashion as the Prem. So basically. And I'm not taking anything away from Manchester City. They basically bought best players in the world, and just
not only that, Garry,
and got the best coach in the world.
No, but Garry, not only that, they've broken like the fair fair play, 115 charges in not too long of a time.
And they're gonna walk.
Could be.
And they're gonna walk, okay?
But you know what? Best case scenario, the Arsenal wins 3 championships this offseason once they take away a bunch of points from Man City. Okay? There you go.
I mean, whatever they got the cup. The end. They got the trophy. So
All right.
as far as they're concerned, they don't care what happens at this point. But this is the reason why they're not going to. Let's talk about the week that was, gentlemen. On
Yeah.
Saturday, they were doing well, right? We went up to New England, and they faced New England at home and handled their business, right? What do we said? Good teams are supposed to beat bad teams. New England was a bad team. Okay, they scored a couple of goals and everything was fine. That was great. Then went over to DC, where the only thing that they were really worried about was a red hot Christian Benteke, and they handled them 4-1 to, of course, 4-1 to the Red Bull. I mean, hey, at this point, we were feeling good about ourselves, right? Manuel scored a goal. Harper, Morgan, Burke. When was the last time we seen this guy on the score sheet?
Yeah.
Bartlett, the only person with the goal for the home side. It was one of those matches where take a look at this, fellas. No yellow cards, no red cards. That was probably the most cleanest game I've ever seen between New York Red Bulls and DC United. Remember back in the day when those dudes used to choke each other up and down the field? Not so much. Not so much in this particular. Well, let me just ask you. Since you guys go way back during the MetroStars days, including yours truly, is the rivalry between the Red Bulls / MetroStars and DC United dead?
Yeah, it's dead as a doornail. Okay, that's what I think. Nick might have a different opinion, but you know what? Those were the games that we looked forward to, and like most of the time,
it was a game that we circled on the calendar.
Exactly. We gotta win this one, no matter what we do the freaking season. This is the game we have to win. And back then we usually we'd have like 3 games. Like one team would have like 2 home, and then it would change the following year. And then in the early days of MLS, they'd have 4 games. Okay, it would have been 2 and 2.
It was a series.
I think as a rivalry, because we still travel to go watch the game down there. They don't. They don't.
They don't come up.
I think they think it's done because they haven't put up a competitive team in a while. But we still go down there and we still see them as our.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember a time when folks used to come bus loads, Nick, loads of DC United fans come up and make some noise. It was always a fun time when win or lose. It was always a fun time. The atmosphere was cracking, even if we were yelling and screaming at each other across the aisle, and through empty seats and stuff. But now, kind of breaks my heart a little bit that this and MLS is at fault. This is what happens. When you have 2 teams that it's a good rivalry, that you shouldn't play too much, and that's what happened. I thought, as they say, with contempt, familiarity, because you keep running into each other. But yeah, I mean, part of a rivalry is supposed to be competition, and to be honest, for once upon a time, hey, we were them. We were DC United, right? We were winning games. We were having some problems drawing fans and stuff like that. But like you said, Miguel, anytime when DC United was on the calendar, we circled that game. Why?
Yeah.
Because there was there were some bitter feelings every time we faced them. I still do. And
that's another thing, Garry.
There's not that many old folks, from OGs left from the 95 days and 96, 95 days. Ain't that many, present company included. There ain't that much of us left. But
yeah, also, Garry, you just mentioned the fans. It was a midweek game, but the stadium was half full, right? So
yes, it was. Where Audi Field is situated, it's easy to get to if if you're driving a car. Of course, if you take the metro, you got a long walk around the baseball stadium just to get there. I should know, because as many times I've gone to that place, and I said to myself, "Damn it, do they have to put it behind the baseball stadium?" Great, and and I tell people, you guys have no idea how big Washington Park is until you walk around that edifice, and it's huge. And I said to myself, "Damn, how big is this damn stadium?" And it took me a while just to get around that thing, and then finally, you know, finally get down to Audi Field. And said, DC, Washington D.C. is a walkable city. Who told you that lie? That's why they got a very slow trolley going in from and a free bus ride for tours. But I think there was a time during the original 6 days, right, fellas? DC United, Revolution, fun matches, right? Even during the playoffs, fun matches. Now,
Right.
not so much. I think we're the only ones still carrying the torch against those guys. So we handled our business on Wednesday during a midweek game, and then we traveled a little Flushing, and all of a sudden that became the main event. Whether I want to admit it to or not, that's our new rivalry. That's our new baby right now. New York City FC. People keep referring to this as the New York Derby. I have no idea why
Yeah.
people do that. Like they can't read a map or something like that. But I'm glad that somebody got, a group of supporters got together, okay, raised some funds, and created a trophy for the event. So there you go. It's the Hudson River Derby. And this was the first time that this particular game in this particular series was played at Citi Field. And the reason why
Yeah.
they were playing at Citi Field is because the Yankees were playing at Yankee Stadium that very weekend. So what are you going to do? The Mets were on the road. So
Yeah.
across the river they go, right, to another baseball field. And I'm sitting in the press box, and I take a picture of I'm taking a picture and letting everybody know, hey, I'm here. I can't wait to see you guys. And of course, met Nick and everybody else over there. And they had a great spot right in front of the press box, right? So it was, it was kind of cool. But people were complaining about the field right off the bat. People were beefing about the field, Mickey.
Garry, that has to be the worst field in MLS. I mean, it has to be. Okay? Yeah, and even worse field than Yankee Stadium. I mean, come on. It's such a disgrace that our team has to play there for this,
for the next 3 years.
Come on.
Coming up, we played in the outer field where they destroyed the field with a football game. And that field was chewed up and garbage and horrendous. You played at Citi Field. The grass is not grass. What that infield was, and half that infield
painted dirt, I guess. And it was raining.
And
it was raining.
Yeah.
It was raining. Made it a mudslide. You see it. You see them trying to make a pass on it. The ball doesn't go. I'm like, what is this? First of all, and then when we get to the stadium, you don't even see the lines. What lines were on the field? What were they marking?
Yeah, it's so narrow. I mean, these guys couldn't. Their footing was not there, And people talked. Well, you know what? I knew it was going to happen. I knew this was going to be it. People are talking about
in narrow fields. You say
people are talking about that the team played with no heart, man. I think they were like. I think that it was the field mostly that had them playing like that. Okay, a narrow field. They couldn't pass the ball around as they do.
This sounds like an excuse to me, but go ahead.
No. It's no excuse because I was pretty much like before the game. I said, yeah, this is how it's going to go, and that's the way it went. These people over there, they're used to playing in the crappy field, and that's what happened. Okay, now they pretty much could have gotten out of there with a draw. Okay. If only Dante Van Zier has scored that goal. He was a sitter. Yeah. Please.
Dante had three chances to get the ball.
Yes.
And he bungled and stumbled at all three chances. And
what
I'm getting a little concerned about Van Zier, honestly. Okay, honestly.
But Garry, what happened to Elias Manuel? Okay.
He got goal happy. He decided to.
I mean, when you get one goal, okay. Okay.
Sorry.
There's There's a saying, Nicholas. To your point, there's a saying: when you give a starving man a steak, all of a sudden he wants more steak.
He eats it all in one shot. He should have
right. Yeah, and that's what it is. Right, and that's what it is with. This is what it is with strikers. Strikers are like home run hitters. They go on streaks.
Yeah.
Okay, they get one, they want more, And instead of him being quality with your shots, you're shooting all over the place, okay? Hoping at least one go in. And that's what the problem with our forwards. Midfielders, not so much. They don't get the ball as much as the forwards do. But have you ever noticed that when they do get the ball, they worry about placement more than anything else? Their shots go in, and why? Because they're careful. Okay, there are sometimes where the shot goes awry or goes into the seats, whatever the case may be. But our forwards, what I would like to see them do, if nothing else, bomb your way into the box and draw a foul in it.
Yeah,
that'll work. But
that Manuel 3-on-1 break the other way, and he took that shot from 35 yards out.
Not sure why he did that. I don't know.
He had two cutting guys on each side. Just pick a pass. Which guy do you want to give the ball to?
Yeah, come on, man. And you know what? Also, the fact that we didn't have Emil Forsberg for most of the game,
Well, Forsberg,
really did a sin.
Well, a lot of fans were justifiably pissed, okay, because they were told he was, first of all, the actual injury report listed him as questionable, okay? That he came down with an illness. So he may appear, may not. I don't know where people thought he said he was out. No, he was not out. He was questionable, which means if I physically saw him coming into the stadium, there was a chance he was hitting the field.
Okay.
I got there early as the bus arrived at the stadium. Don't know why I did that, but it's okay. And the festivities began just 3 minutes into the match. This is when you knew things were not going to go very well.
New York City doing well initially to play away from the pressure. Here comes Malachi Jones. Noah Ayla defending. Jones getting the cross in. Good ball. Hannes Wolf. Oh, cuts it back and opens the scoring in the Hudson River Derby.
That gets him out of pressure. Now all of a sudden you play into the feet. Santiago Rodriguez, he beats two players, and John Tolkien keeps Malachi Jones onside. In only his second start, the rookie has been fantastic. He's direct, he's dynamic, but more importantly, in the final third, he plays the right ball. In his first start, he gets a goal against Toronto. In his second one, he assists Wolf for an early goal and a 1-0 lead for New York City.
Did you count how many defenders were ghosted, then looked clueless in the final third?
6.
That's when you knew things were not going well. Okay, yeah. I've never seen. I've seen teams with piss poor defending. That was piss poor.
What was?
I just rolled my eyes at that. I said, "Oh, come on."
What was Tolkien doing,
fellas? I mean,
yeah. What was Tolkien doing? I don't.
We've asking. You ever notice that we've been asking? I mean, Santiago Rodriguez was the guy I circled how he was going to dance around that midfield, because I said the midfield was going to be how this game was going to be won or lost by either side. And Santiago Rodriguez, and I'm giving the team a lot of credit here, had a field day. He was dancing in and around and through that midfield like he was Fred Astaire. Okay.
Yeah.
It made me wish that Peter Stroud wasn't injured, because since his injury, I don't know, that midfield has been ripped open by been ripped open to shreds from time to time. And Tolkien, I went from being concerned to disappointed, because he was the bona fide hero last year, but that was last year. This year, I mean, how many times have you rated him less than 10 at this point, Nicholas? Because I've read your rating.
Better than 7. I think I've given him twice anything above a 7, maybe one game. He has had really 2 good games the whole year.
2. That's it. one of our members took you to task with it. Tolkien, come on, Tolkien. I mean, what are you, his son? It's pops. I mean,
You saw it in DC.
I won't go so far to say, Nicholas, he fell off, but you're gonna go. I mean, you're gonna go to Europe with this. You're gonna get eaten alive. I mean, this.
Listen,
that's not, no,
Garry. He just went over the Great Falls of Patterson. That's how fat, that he fell off. He's he seems like an average MLS player now.
Is he going to the Olympics with this performance?
He's going to be eaten alive.
Wait. I think he's in line, right? He was.
Yeah, Edelman are in line for the. Yeah. Edelman has still been very good for the most part of the year. Tolkien, I can't see him being on the Olympic squad. For what?
Neither can I. With this play, no. If he's trying to be careful not to get hurt and whatnot, I mean, they have. I don't think they named the squad for the Olympic team yet, did they?
They had 25 guys from the last trip to France when they went to France to play those 2 games.
I didn't see his
those
name.
Were the 25 guys. There was Tolkien and Elman were on the original 25 list that they took to France, but you can't be considering him after this run of games. Game in DC, he was trying to clear the ball and he was just heading it straight up in the air, and then battling to get the ball out of bounds. You had it on the feet like that was what was that? What was that?
Also,
yeah, people were like, "What the?
Yeah,
kid?
I mean,
bro, what are you doing?
What was that?
Is he playing injured? I don't understand. So
at the beginning he was injured. The start,
yeah, he was,
and now,
well. Luckily for us, and of course, lucky for us and everybody else who came to the game. The lead, of course, did not last. For just before halftime, Cameron Harper
playing the ball behind.
Harper from distance. Oh, it's in! Spectacular from Cameron Harper, level in the Hudson River Derby.
But what is their bread and butter? Immediately. When the ball's 50-50, you've got to win your individual battle. You've got to step up and win that challenge. A direct knockdown from Martins, but Cameron Harper directly wins that ball. And what a strike. Pick it out of the net, Matt Freeze. It is 1-1. New York Red Bulls, New York City. Take your bow, Cameron Harper. What a strike.
An assist. Dante.
What an absolute golazo. An absolute golazo by the Celtic legend. Okay, there you go.
So, I mean, Vanzer did make his mark, although he didn't do it in the bottom line. He did have an assist. So that helped us on. People were able to calm down a little bit until halftime. The rain came in and everything. And in the 64th minute, more lazy defending, which led to a goal that Barkar, this guy's had them so far couldn't even buy a goal up until this point, until that very evening. Think Tom Barlow, but in blue. And so in the 64th minute, this happened.
And a goal in the first minute of first half stoppage time from Cameron Harper. Otherwise, it's been the Red Bulls, probably the most threatening of the teams. New York City trying to change that. Step over from Wolf. Back to Tavon Gray. New York City will be patient. Sands to Wolf. Wolf cutting inside away from Morgan. Leaving for Gray. Across. Oh, and in! Take the load off! Mounsef Bakrar! His first goal of the year at long last. And what a match to do it in!
How do you play through this? Wolf beating his defender, then sliding it in, but a quick ball in allows Bakwa to beat his defender and get to the near post. He has missed his fair set of chances this year, but make no mistake about it, the best goal scorers in the world, they have amnesia. You score one, the floodgates open. Here we go.
Tolkien again.
I think that was, I think that was Nealis on the wrong side of the player.
Both Nealis and Eli were caught that way.
Yeah.
They tried to pass them to each other, and nothing was said.
They had the ball for about 6 minutes up until that point. Talk about rope a dope. 6 minutes. Nobody put a body on him. There was no pressure whatsoever. Dudes was swinging and missing all over the place. Led to that goal. It was coming. Okay, if we're all going to be honest, it was coming. That's where I felt that the team came in more than a step slow. If they were gassed, okay. But I'm not excusing it. I'm going to be as critical as I can. You had cupcake games leading up to arguably was going to be a tough assignment in Flushing. And your dudes couldn't get switched on for this. Nobody coming up, nobody was ready for this. Everybody walking off the bus a step slow, which is probably the reason why the coach said in here, and I quote, said this, they were the better team of the night. Really?
Did they have 3 games?
Yes.
Did they have 3 games in a week?
They had to. City had their 3 games, and they won. And they did what they had to do.
They won all 3.
And they won all 3. So
New York is blue. New York is blue, mates. That's it. We can't argue.
I mean, there's nothing to argue. I mean, Red Bull fans had no choice but to swallow this one, okay? Because, and I felt sorry for many of you guys. You came in, you were making noise, good noise, okay? You kept up the energy for 90 minutes. Team didn't do the same, regrettably. So
that second half performance was poor, especially without the lineup. Didn't do Banzier and Manuel together. Just take that idea and just chuck it.
I have to agree with with Vincent at this point. We don't show up in games. Miami, Columbus, and now this. This is not going to get us past round one. It's not going to get us past round one.
But you know what Vincent doesn't realize, Garry, is that in the summer, this club is going to spend the money and it's going to bring us at least 3 game-changing players, and that's how we're going to get by.
Right, maybe in FIFA. Maybe in FIFA. I'll be happy if they get 1. Let's put it that way.
All right.
I'll be happy to get 1. And and yes, Mark, we know that Taylor Twellman is annoying to listen to, but hey. I know there's a lot of people who feel that had the same sentiment. But, nice goal aside, when it was all said and done. Oh, by the way, when they next come home to play Charlotte FC, one particular individual will not be available for sure because
stepping up is Ilinic, coming into the game with just a ton of energy, drawing a foul. Guy who's been in the game for 30 seconds celebrating, and that's a red card. It's a second yellow. It's Sean Nealis.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been doing that in the 93rd minute. Come on.
Okay, listen. I don't mind first of all, his first yellow card was BS, but the ref blatantly missed throwing Sands off the game because that was a yellow card that gave him his yellow because he defended Amaya when he got killed, and he goes, "Why aren't you giving Sands his second yellow? Because that was a blatant foul that you missed." And he didn't like the verbiage he gave him, especially as a captain. You shouldn't be that quick to give the captain. He was the captain for this game with Emil Forsberg on the bench. Give him a yellow for yapping off. I'm sorry. That's the ref doing a poor job. Did he deserve the second yellow? Absolutely. That's a foul. You're not going to get away with that. But come on, give me a read. You can't give a captain a yellow card for yapping and complaining. You know this. Ref was bad. He was, but I'm not excuse why we lost.
Ref was bad. Nealis was worse. I'm sorry.
He was bad.
In games like that, Nick, I agree with you, but you got to keep your cool. You have to. Okay, so now, Charlotte, you're taking a seat in the suites, signing autographs, brah, because you certainly ain't playing. And when The good news out of all this is like 2-1, which means that when you get back home in September, you got a chance to turn this around. So final score of this, of course, naturally, 2-1 to New York City FC. So far at the moment, New York is blue. Harper with his goal in the 41st minute, Wolf and Bakar in the third, and of course in the 64th minute, respectfully. Of course, naturally, the one red card going to Sean Nealis. This was a game that was about as tight as they come, as I knew it would be. There was a lot of fouls, 24 to be precise. But I'm looking at the yellow cards for the Red Bulls, 5 versus 1 for New York. I mean, I had to actually to your point on that, Nicholas, about the ref being bad, I had to take a, double take on that. It was like, wait a minute. How is it that the fact that they got 5 and City only got 1? 1?
Well, we didn't have the ball the second half, so how are they going to get a card? So we didn't have the ball.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's not the reason why we lost, but refs got to be better. You have to do your job. I'm sorry. That's my thing. He's got to do his job.
I don't like blaming refs because at the end of the day, Red Bulls had chances to win this game. 4 of them, in fact. 5 of them, in fact. Okay. They had chances.
Sitters, Garry, sitters.
Right,
okay?
Sitters. Okay.
Oh.
You can't be a good team and blow sitters. Okay. That alone, you're doing this in derby games. Can you imagine doing this in the playoffs?
No.
Where a situation where you either win or go
it's over.
Home. It's over.
Yeah. This is why it's essential that we get that one guy who's going to be banging him in on a regular basis. BWP style, okay? At least give us one guy so we can have a chance.
I understand, Miguel. It better not be a midfielder because Lord knows we have enough of those. But I understand where you're coming from, Miguel. But I don't honestly think one guy is gonna cut it. And we've said this multiple times. Okay, this is an incomplete team. Okay, the simple fact that they got 16 wins at this point in the season. We had 16 wins the whole season last year. So we're somewhat above beyond the curve a little bit, but at the same time, Nicholas, there's a lot to improve for, and we're seeing the flaws of what they say. Good teams also expose bad teams. I'm not going to say the Red Bulls were a bad team at this point, but I'm worried. I'm worried because the good news out of all this is there's going to be lots of home games. They played more road games in this part of the schedule than they did. So from this on, there's going to be a string of home games. So far, the Red Bulls are undefeated at home. So right now, they're giving you guys almost a perfect season at home. When we talked to Schwartz after the game, you can imagine he was not very happy. He was not very happy. He was not very satisfied. He didn't like the fact the team in several areas physically and mentally broke down. Okay. A coach can only do so much to prepare the team ahead, make sure, do the game film and everything else. But still, at the end of the day, to play, as Carlos likes to say, players have to play, right? Players played. They didn't produce. You got one goal to hold down things just a little bit, but that's about it. Okay? You had 6 chances at the net. Only 1 got in. That's not enough. Your defense was lackadaisical, and I'm being kind here. Okay? There was a lot of emergency defending all over the damn place. And that fiasco that led into the second goal versus Bakar, you let your visitors hold the ball for nearly 7 damn minutes. 7 minutes, fellas, passing the ball around. I saw clutching, grabbing, watching, anything but putting a body on him. Okay. If you're going to foul him, fine, foul him. Just don't do anything stupid. But nothing that resembled, the defense that we saw in the first, so far in this season. It's almost like they fell down, which in a sense they did. Sorry, I'm going to call a spade. I'm going to call a spade a spade. Is this a playoff team? Yeah, I believe they are a playoff team. Do they need reinforcements, and how? Especially at right back, because we don't know what's in JMI's head. Other than Paris, I don't know, and I'm sure it's not Paris Hilton, although she's a fine looking filly. But hey, he's playing not to get hurt, as opposed to last year where he damn near carried his team to the playoffs. We know he has it in him. And don't get me started on Duncan. That's got to be the most ridiculous pairing on the left back and right back. I wish we had Edwards back. That baller brought bite. Nobody was walking past him. Okay,
and a switch down was also great. And you saw his goal.
Nobody was walking past that dude.
They should have offered.
No,
they should have offered him a penthouse, Gary. They should have offered a penthouse for him and his girlfriend in New York City.
Part of the reason why he left was the coach. He didn't know what to do with him. Didn't know what to do with him. Part of the reason why he walked was the coach.
Famous guys. Famous leaders. The fired one. Oh, yes. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, they fired him. They also fired him when he thought he had a perfect job up in Salzburg until he broke the streak. They owned that league until this year. They don't own it anymore.
11 years running. Whoops. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Did they not win the title? What was their...
Sturm Graz.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sitting somewhere third, second, finally first. They had to get past Salzburg to get there.
Same thing like Bayern Munich. 11-year window, and you fell flat.
They owned that league for 11 years, for a decade. They've owned that league and they blew the streak.
The coach of the year. I was so happy when he was fired. I was laughing so hysterically.
I mean,
was like, let me get this out there.
They don't ever want to hear his name. They want to even mention his name in the same sentence ever again. I mean, but things happen. So thankfully, there's a break. People, fans, and players, and everybody else get to cool their heels. Next game, of course, is against Charlotte FC. And the last time I looked over in Charlotte FC, well, they're not doing so hot. Let me bring up the good old standings at this point. But let's see.
They're in sixth.
They're in sixth place. They're within shout. Actually, they're within shouting distance right now. Out of they got 6 wins, 5 losses, 3 ties. Capetti, remember him? He was basically their number one guy. Well, he left. He ain't. Edson Capetti, he ain't left. He's not their number one guy anymore. He moved on. So
their goalie.
Excuse me, Pete?
Their goalie is what's carrying them.
Their goaltender, and somewhat. Remember when the only thing is wrong with this particular team, their defense still stinks, but their goalkeeper has been keeping them into games. Their midfield is still their midfield. I mean, the team is still the same team you faced them last year, but your goalkeeper, correct, is basically keeping you in the games. Getting past them, you might win a game or two. Who knows?
Christian. Sorry, I pronounced his name. Kalina.
Huh? Go ahead.
Christian Kalina is the goalie. I couldn't remember.
Christian Kalina, right? Christian Kalina is the goalie. Of course, Elias Manuel. Last time you saw these two, he pasted them during the playoffs with his wonderful appearance. Maybe he's got it in him this time around. Who knows? But this is one of those games, guys, where you're playing at home and it's winnable. Will they win that game? Who knows? When they're done with them, the homestand continues. Oh, by the way, it's Bark Night at Red Bull Arena. Bring your doggy at a certain section. Just make sure you clean up after the critter when you're all said and done. After that game, Orlando City comes to town, and they always play the Red Bulls tough. Doesn't matter if it's home or away. Orlando City, last time we looked at them, they're in 10th place. They're on the outside looking in. Okay, boys and girls, 4 wins to their name. 5 losses, 2 ties. The one thing that shockingly has me a little worried, fellas, did you notice the -5 spot on the goal differential? This was a team that had a good defense. What happened to these boys? What I mean, Oscar Pereira is a coach that preaches. Oscar Pereira is a coach that preaches 2 things: possession and defense. Teams are just like lighting them up right now. What happened with these boys? I mean, I know you haven't seen them in a while, but looking at these guys, giving up almost goals a game. Sheesh, that's crazy. Charlotte, by the way, their goal differential is +1. Not much, but I'm looking more for tighter game versus Charlotte than I am versus Orlando City. So I'm looking forward. It's going to be a tight one on Wednesday night in front of the home folks and their dogs, and on Saturday, hopefully they can able to sweep the series before they go back on the road again, which is against New England. So we'll talk about basically about bowl predictions and so. Go ahead.
So looking at Orlando, they're a better road team than they are a home team.
That's just it. Yeah, and that's why I said it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough assignment.
They beat Philly in Philly. They just drew with Miami 1-1, 0-0. They beat Orlando. Okay, they beat San Jose, but that's not a major accomplishment. But the last 3 games, it's a win in Philly, a draw against Miami, and a win in San Jose. So they're playing better, and they lost 1-0 at home to Cincinnati, which I think was the first minute goal that they gave up.
Yeah. And they locked it down for the rest, for 89 minutes after that. But I've always said that Orlando was on a crew that plays the Red Bulls always tough, more at home or away. But this time they're a much more better road team than they are, at home. So this is going to be interesting to say the least.
Last year they beat us 3-0 here at home too. So.
Yeah, so it says we owe them, to say the least. We need to, they need, it's going to be a statement win. Who knows? But this is something that that needs to happen. You need to pick up points, boys and girls. We're almost halfway through the season, and excuses are out the window. I mean, you're playing the majority of your majority of games basically at home. You need to pick those points up. There's one bit of sad news to report. And unfortunately, it doesn't have to reveal to a game. We lost one of our treasured members of the discussion group, and of course, in the fan base. The young lady, I'm gonna bring her picture up here. Her name is Christina Ford. She is a member of the discussion group here. She's been with the Red Bull part of the Red Bull fandom. From looking at her obituary, and fellas, let me tell you something. She is a wonderful woman. She has life. She was born. She was with the fan base for a very long time. She's known as Chrissy, okay, to her family and her friends. She was a force for the moment that she then learned her final breath. Unfortunately, she had a brief but very painful bout with cancer, and it took her life at the age of 48. She was with the discussion group since 2014. She's been went around the block for us for a while. And when I heard the news of her passing, I was devastated. Really, I was. It was devastating. I hate losing good people. I always consider you guys here at the discussion group as members of an extended family. You guys are always in my hearts and minds. To lose Chrissy that way hurts a lot, especially when it comes to cancer. She is survived, of course, by by Chrissy and her kids. Because of her passing, we have decided here in the discussion group we're going to continue to honor her in her memory. We are dedicating the remainder of the season to her memory. And of course, next year, there will be one more star, gentlemen, added to our crest. So she will always be remembered amongst us. She was the personification of what being a fan of the Metro Boys. She was steadfast in that support, and she will be missed 1,000,000%. Guys, I know I showed you the link to her obituary. When you guys heard the news, how did it make? I'm sure you guys were like crushed, as I was. So it's on behalf of everybody here in the group, one thing for certain: as long as this fan base exists, as long as this group exists, she will always be fondly remembered among the group here, among the legends and members here, forever. She will never be forgotten, ever. And her, when that star goes up on the crest, there will be a poignant reminder of how she was of the fan base in all of us. She will continue to live on in all of us for this season and the seasons to come. She passed away, at 48. Christina, Margaret Ford, beloved mother, wife, sister, aunt, advocate, and now you may add legend to that list. She will be continue on forever. So she is a legend forever. We're going to take a moment to give ourselves a moment of silence. We'll be back here in 45 seconds. Christina, thank you so much, and rest easy, girl. We'll see you soon. Okay, so while all that craziness was going on, allow me to remove this now. While all this craziness was going on, there were some other games that was played on Sunday. I haven't been able to go to the New York Red Bull 2 game or a Gotham FC game because it was on Sunday. Sundays is the day I need my rest, especially with all this. And I tend to, I want to be able to catch one of these games. Now, as we all know, the Red Bulls lost their game Saturday versus NYCFC thanks to an early goal. Well, guess what happened at the campus? Which again, poor Nicholas. He's rolling his eyes again. Well, that's what happened. I mean, what if I told you 2 minutes in the game? Okay, Stitz came and scored a goal. Kasule got his in the 50th minute, of course, in the penalty. Chirilla, who's the man of the match in 20th and 56th minute, and Mr. Tabalante added more injury in the 76th minute. I know we haven't, checked on the New York Red Bulls 2 in quite a while, and I wouldn't say that they're slipping in the standings as I'm checking in the Next Pro standings. Believe it or not, despite the loss, the Red Bulls 2 are in the same position as the New York Red Bulls senior team, 4th place in the Eastern Conference. But despite that, Miguel, is it time to panic for these young kids? We're not so worried about these guys so much.
No. We're not so worried about these guys so much. There's still plenty of time. There's still plenty of time for them to turn it around. Okay, that's why. It's the same thing for us. There's still plenty of time that we can get some good results before we start panicking about not even making the playoffs. Okay. Which, last year that was a real possibility. I don't think it's a real possibility for the senior team this year. Okay. I mean, we'd have to get, for instance, Mark's opinion about Red Bull 2.
Okay. He's out there right now.
Yeah. Maybe next time he comes on, you could ask him, because I haven't gone to a game. So I don't know what the talent level is like, Garry,
Well,
can they get to the playoffs? Can they challenge again? I don't know,
Defense looks a little weak.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the goal differential for New York Red Bulls too. It was positive almost 2 months ago, Nicholas. Now it's at -2. Oops.
Not,
Oops.
we've given up 7 goals in the last 2 games.
That's a problem. Yikes! That's a problem. I mean, that's why I asked. I was like, okay,
No bueno.
is it time to panic? Because for a while they were once upon a time they were in first place, right? So people are wondering what the heck happened here.
We gave up 5 against Chicago, 4 against Cincinnati, 3 against Orlando. I don't see the defense is that bueno. And I saw the only game I really truly saw was the Cup game, and that was not good either.
No, I mean their defense is not that great. No.
It doesn't sound like there's anybody that's anywhere near ready to come up to the first team.
No. Unless you want to talk about Ibrahim Kasule and then you want to Frank Sabuka, but those two guys, I don't think they're ready for prime time just yet.
Okay.
Mitchell, I thought Mitchell had a chance because he was tearing that league apart. But
he kind of fell back a little bit. He really did. Rolled Mitchell, and then he got hurt. Thanks very much.
He got hurt, yeah.
Then he got hurt. He had 8 goals in 4 games, and then he got hurt, and that says a lot for him.
Wow.
Yeah. So his season is now spent on the bench. Meanwhile, New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC, well, they won their game versus the Chicago Red Stars. Lynn Williams, she got a record, 100 goals. Congratulations for her. Hawking on the 74th minute even things up. But then Miss Stevens in the 90th minute sent everybody home happy and proud. And, of course, 2-1 to the Gotham girls. They are now sitting in very pretty in the NWSL standings. Once upon a time, about almost 2 months ago, they were sitting on 13th place. Gentlemen, they're now climbing up the table. They are now in 7th place within playoff position. Should the season ended today, as we know, they have a long way to go. Their last 5, they have been unbeaten in their last 5. 3 wins, 2 draws. When we last heard about these ladies, and sometime next week we're going to give our friends from Gotham Soccer Over Gotham going to stop by and talk about Gotham FC. Within 2 weeks, they were bringing in big names to this club, right? Most of them are going to be gone, to the Olympics this year. Folks were wondering, okay, when this team was going to start gelling around. They're gelling around now, and which is kind of sad because Miguel, in about 3 weeks, they're all going to go to the Olympics.
Right.
So it's going to be whoever was left. I mean, they even brought in Crystal Dunn. Remember her? But there's one person who's basically the highlight of the team. She's gone for good with an ACL injury, and people were like, "Oh no." This is the end all to be. But they seem to have rebounded very well. Hey, undefeated in 5. They're unbeaten in 5. Not too shabby.
And a game in hand.
And a game in hand. So, so this is a good streak that they're in. Oh, by the way, their next match, in case anyone is wondering, is on Friday, and they're taking on Bay City FC. So they're going to go back to the West Coast. Oh, my God. This trip's going... How many times are they going to go back to the West Coast? Well, they're going to go back to the West Coast versus Bay FC. Their next home game, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to bring Angel City FC with them at Red Bull Arena. And that game is going to start at 12:30 in the afternoon. Okay.
Wow. 12:30?
I'm looking at the schedule.
Wait, that's a Sunday?
That 12:30, June 8th.
12:30. That's a Sunday, right?
That's a Sunday, June 8th.
Wow. No, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not very hot.
I'm sorry. That's a Saturday.
Saturday. Okay.
Is that a game that I think we back to back?
Let me take a look at this. I think are we? Hang on a second. That doesn't make sense. Okay, 12:30 in the afternoon, but I think that
Yeah, we're in New England. That's also during.
June 8th. I'm in New England
Yeah, we're in New
with
England.
the team. Right. No, so I don't understand why it's 12:30 in the afternoon. Sheesh.
Probably the
Anything else?
CBS game. Probably the CBS game.
Yeah, hopefully it's not very hot. It's not going to be July, but you never know. You never know if it's going to be 100 degrees.
At the beginning of the friendlies for the Euro at that time too. So all that week, weeks is going to be disappearing, and the Copa games are going to start.
Let me guess. There's going to be a friendly game on June 8th. Oh well.
Yes,
Meanwhile, New York Red Bull 2, they will play Philadelphia Union 2 on Sunday, May 26th at MSU Soccer Park. Maybe I'll stop by and pet chicken match. The next road game after that is versus NYCFC 2 on June 1st. Saturday over in Belson Stadium once again. But they're going to be there over in Queens a lot. So that is the story for New York Red Bull 2. That is the story for, of course, for New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. Let's talk predictions, boys. Let's start with Charlotte, which is going to be their next opponent. Now remember that match is taking place next Wednesday, not this Wednesday. Next Wednesday, it'll be Bark Night at Red Bull Arena. Something tells me I'm going to be having some problems with getting my histamine on because I'm going to have dog hair all over the place. But other than that, how you see this match ending? I'm going to start with you, Nicholas.
The Manuel special. He owns this team. So from some strange reason, four of his goals are against this team. I'll keep it continuing. 2-1 Red Bull.
2-1 Red Bull. Miguel, your thoughts?
Listen, I'm going to go with Nicholas' prediction. Manuel owns this team, okay? And he's going to score a brace, and I'm going to be calling for him to be signed on a long term, okay? So,
long term.
2-0, okay? Thank you.
I'm going to go something a little tighter. I'm going to go 3-2 us.
Oh.
And the reason why, because I know they're going to score some goals. I know we're going to give up. I'm not going to call the defense suspect, but I don't like what I'm seeing in the last couple of games, especially versus NYCFC. Charlotte is one of those teams that are very deceptive. They're a little better than a lot of people think they are, and that keeper is going to keep them in the game. Will they able to step up offensively? We will see. Let's move on to our next game, which will be on Saturday, and that will be Orlando City. Orlando City always plays us tough, Miguel. I mean, whether it be down there in Florida or up here at Red Bull Arena, I'm. How do you feel about this match? Because I'm certainly not feeling it. I'll let you know why after your prediction.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have a really good coach, okay, and he's got time to work with them before he faces us, and that the game is away, right? So the game here, it's at our house.
Yes,
okay, yes. I'm going to predict the victory, okay? Because if it were at Orlando, I would be predicting a loss. I'm going to predict that we're going to win at home against Orlando, okay?
What's your score?
3-1.
3-1?
Yeah. 3-1. Manuel Burke and Forsberg.
By the way, you're playing with house money. By the way, you're sitting in third place. So you hope you're right at this point.
Hey, listen,
Nick.
I'm going with a 1-1 tie. Like what happened.
1-1. Oh my God, Nick, come on.
Their defense. I mean, Orlando City's D is a little different. Despite they're a little better than you think. Okay?
This is a trap game for them because they're going to be the second game on a road trip where they play Columbus at home, fly out to Chicago, and then come to New York. Trap game all over the place for that Chicago game. So if they stick up that Chicago game, which I don't expect them to do it, we're in trouble. But I'll take the 1-1 tie and walk out of there.
I'm gonna go with a draw myself, but I'm thinking 2-2. Okay. That defense is better than what you think, but still, guys are heating up right now. You got Manuel throwing shots at the net. I hope that he's to continue to do that. And of course, I'm hoping at least Van Zier gets one. Morgan is going to get his. Okay, he seems to always get his.
One
But
can
then
only
it
hope.
becomes
Yeah.
one can only hope. But then we're hoping who else on everything. I'm seeing everyone else with their predictions, and of course, um, the guests are so far ahead of us. It's not even funny because so far they've been almost right. Their percentage is 80% on their predictions and stuff like that. So kudos to the guys, for the people in the live audience. Um, Barlow is wasting away in the bench of Chicago. Oh,
What a shocker.
what a shocker. This is what happens when you don't produce, but bro.
You know who's not wasting away on a bench, Gary?
Uh-huh.
Do you know who's not wasting away on a bench, Gary?
Not okay. Anyone?
Brian White at
Not.
Vancouver. Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Gary.
of course not. I mean, we traded the wrong guy. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone have said it. Everyone has said it to me. Everyone have said it. That we traded basically the wrong guy. But I'm glad he's doing quite well where he is right now. He even got one, against us when he played here home. Held his celebration, stuff like that. But kudos for him.
Speaking of extra goals, did anybody see the goal that Matt Biazgo scored for his?
Oh, awesome! That was an own golazo. Okay,
I couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I'm sorry. I had to say that. I couldn't ever.
I brought such a smile on my face after.
And despite that, they're ahead of us, so it didn't kill them. For all intents and purposes. When he was here, I mean, hey, people were riding all over Brian White. Now look what he's doing.
I didn't hate Brian White. I didn't hate Brian White.
Alex Wheel, everyone jumped all over him.
Let me just say,
family and everything hated us. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
Wheel sucked. Brian White was pretty good. At the time, I couldn't believe that it was Barlow who got the stay.
I wanted Wheel as a defender or a defensive midfielder, not attacking, defensive. Okay, because he still has that shutdown ability. But
left back might have been a good idea.
I mean, I wanted him as a converted, defensive mid, but nobody listened to me.
Tried it with Zizou. Zizou was a disaster, but you could have turned Mule into a good right back.
Oh yeah,
I definitely could see that.
Oh yeah, he'd still be here. To be honest with you,
he's still run with everybody. That's what.
Well, New York is blue for the foreseeable future at the moment. All signs are looking pretty good for that squad. As for this team in Harrison, I wouldn't say we're in a position where, once more, it looks back to the drawing board. But these are the problems that we've been saying all season long. We said, what happens if we get truly exposed to a really good team after trying to be a good team themselves? Well, we now know the answer. The question is, what will the front office do this summer? Are they going to sit pat? Are they going to stand pat? Or are they going to actually do something about it? Because if they're having the aspirations of going more than just round one, they need to get up the duff if they haven't done so already, because I'm sure that maybe they don't hear the bells and whistles and klaxons, but the guys who are selling the tickets, the guys who are trying to get sponsorships and everything else, I'm sure their bells and whistles and klaxons are loud enough for the entire metropolitan area to hear. And you you can't have a full stadium with a team that is almost as good. That's not going to cut it. Got it, Miguel.
Yeah, Gary. So let's make a prediction. Is that going to happen? I'm going to say no.
I'm going to be right there.
Go ahead.
I'm going to be right there with you, but an asterisk. Okay.
All right.
We're going to get somebody, but probably from Red Bull 2 and call it a day.
All right, Nick. What do you say?
No, that's the wrong thing. I already melted in. I'm like, nope, I'm not getting anyone.
Okay, so no, and no. Okay, that's not going to happen. Okay, there you go.
Here's the thing.
I'll say this, and I hope I'm proven wrong. They'll get somebody.
You do. I hope I'm proven wrong.
They'll get somebody, but not in the way that you think. All the big names are going to blow past us.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a relative nobody that might be the biggest surprise of all. Really? At least that's what I'm hoping.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's gonna come off the roster? Because we have no international spot.
Who's going to come off the roster?
That's a good question.
Oh,
We have
That's a
no
good question.
spots.
They have nobody.
They have
Oh,
one
yeah.
EP spot left, and we need to get an international spot for that. We have to throw somebody off.
Corey Burke.
EP. Who?
Corey Burke.
Corey
coming
Burke.
Well,
Is no one going to bring up raccoon? The raccoon that was rolling around down in Philly, down in Philly versus NYC.
Marquinhos.
Little good that actually did for us, Lisa. But I digress. Or anything else? Well, as they say, we have reached another end of the show. Episode 109 is completed and done and dusted. There will be no show next week. We are going to take the day off on Memorial Day. Our next episode will take place on June 3rd, and we're going to recap, of course, everything that took place on Tuesday and on Saturday. And, of course, guess who stops by for yet another download of New York Red Bull News, the one and only Anthony Merced.
Jared.
A lot of stuff that he's been collecting. He's written the school books, you guys, so we hope to see you guys on June 3rd. Sorry about what happened to Arsenal. Hey, second best is not that bad. At least you got Champions League, man. That's all that matters,
listen,
right?
And to all you Gunners out there, I'll be at Arsenal against Liverpool in late July. And
that's a headliner match.
Philadelphia, yeah, thank you.
In Philadelphia. Okay, that's an exhibition. I thought you were actually going in England to see.
No.
That would be interesting. All right, till June 3rd, kids, rest your cool heels. Enjoy the holiday weekend. You guys all deserve it. We will talk to you then. For Miguel Nunes, for Nicholas Lianos, who's stopping by and helping out Lanre, who is commiserating after, of course, the Knicks losing. That's probably the reason why.
Yeah, sorry about the Knicks.
Sorry about the Knicks, but hey, you know what they said? It was a valiant effort, but, you get injured, and that's what usually happens. So, enjoy yourselves, everyone. We will see you back on June 3rd. Until then, thanks very much for joining us. Good night. Goodbye for now.